Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and if the big pile of mess here in the title of the video hasn't given it away, yeah, I went car booting again today. I went up to Smithfield Market again, late on in the day actually. It was raining this morning and I wasn't really planning on going out. I've been feeling pretty miserable for the last few days, to be honest. I think I've got a bit of a flu coming on. But it started to brighten up about 10:30, so I thought, oh, I might just wander around for an hour. So it were probably about actually 11:30, nearly 12 o'clock by the time I actually got there and parked and had a wander around. And by that time, really, a lot of the things are starting to pack away, and occasionally, actually, going later like that, you can pick up the odd bargain, especially when it's something that someone just does not want to take back with them, like this. Basically, there's one stall. I think Andy probably knows the stall I'm talking about, and it's one chap, and he has crates and crates and crates of stuff just piled up, and all these tables. He has about 15 or 20 tables just heaped up with stuff. And right at the end of one of the tables, there was all these turntables and speakers and all this stuff, and nothing's in perfect condition. It's all a bit bashed up, and I thought I could probably use one of the turntables. I'm doing a record player up for someone, and I need a new turntable for it, because the turntable that was in it wasn't the right turntable for it. It didn't fit properly and it was knackered anyway, so I was looking for a better deck for it. So I picked the best deck out of the lot, and a couple of some amplifiers that were all bungled in with the lot, and I heaped it all up and took it over to the fella. I said, how much do you want for this lot? He said, I'll take a £5 for the lot. So I said, fair enough. I give him a £5, and he said, the other decks that are over there and all the other bits, you can take the whole lot for the £5. So basically I paid £5 for this big lot here. I'm sure some people will be screaming, I think the guys rip you off for £5, but we're going to go through this and I'll show you actually why I think £5 for this lot of stuff was an absolute steal. And Andy, if you're watching this, don't worry mate, because a few of these decks are for you. I only actually need that one on top. The other decks are going your way if you want them. But we'll go through this lot, and like I said, we'll take a look at it and see exactly what I got for my £5. And I also got something we'll have a look at the end of the video. It's just something, another mystery item in a bag. I paid £4 for, so we'll have a look at that at the end anyway. I don't know whether it is vintage, but it's something to have a look at anyway. So what I'll do is I'll reset the camera up. We'll have a look at these one at a time. Might even see if we can get them to spin. I don't know yet. It depends. I've not even looked at them. Literally, this is how I dragged them out of the car. This is how I put them in the car from the car boot. That's how I took them out of the car, brought them into the workshop and stuck them on the bench here. So I have not looked at anything here properly. So like I said, I'll set up now and we'll take a look. So back in a sec. Right, okay, we've got a nice clear bench. So let's pull the first one up and have a quick look what we've got here. Ooh, this is a heavy one as well. I think this is the oldest deck in the lot. This is a Claro. What model is this? This is a Claro High Fidelity RC54. Really, really nice deck. Sadly, this one's in pretty poor state. We're missing the tone arm. The actual mount for the tone arm's still in perfectly good condition, so I've probably actually got another scrap deck somewhere, unless I've already given it to Andy, that'd have a good tone arm on. But I mean, the platter, the motorboard, the platter's in really nice condition actually. This would all clean up. The rubber's hard, but it's all there. It's not cracked. It's not faded. It'd still take a record nicely. It's nice and smooth. The motorboard's pretty shot. All the paint's chipping off around this side. It's not in a good state, but there are loads and loads and loads of useful parts on this. I'm tempted to see if I can just ping the... Yeah, got it off. even that's not stuck. I actually need one of these for a record player that I've got. Those are still in really, really nice condition. I think it's that one that I need. So I'll probably pinch that for my my Claro that I've got in one of my record players. But there are loads and loads and loads of useful parts on this. I'll put that back so nothing gets lost for now. Even things like these clips, you know, they're really, really hard to get hold of if you lose one or you get a player in that's got it missing. So even things like those clips are worth looking out for and keeping hold of. So yeah, that's the first deck. Like I said, it's not really a restorable deck, I'd say, but there are loads and loads and loads of good, useful parts. I mean, you can't just nip down to the spares store anymore and get, you know, a new platter for one of these Claro decks, or even a control switch if you've got one with a missing control switch. The only place you can get them is scrap units like this. So that's why, I mean, if I see stuff like this and it's cheap enough, I grab it, because this is our source of spare parts for what we're trying to restore. I'll put that down to one side. Let's get the next one up. This is a Garrard. So here we've got a Garrard 3000. Sadly, it's I think that's actually the only thing that's missing off it. It should have a towed arm rest here, and that's actually completely missing. I will probably be testing and removing the cartridges, because I am very, very short of decent cartridges. So that, and the needle, the stylus is knackered on it, but if the cartridge itself works, that could be quite useful. But this one's if that can be replaced, if that can be took off a scrap one, this one's probably restorable. It's a 4-speed deck, 16 to 78. I'd say this is very, very late 60s, possibly early 70s. Or slightly early 70s by the look of it. Let's have a squiz on the underside. Yeah, it doesn't look in too bad a condition. Obviously, you know, it's a little bit bashed up because of these are all just heaped up in a pile. I wonder if I got my little signal tracer, whether we could see if there's any life in the cartridge on this one. In fact, just give us a sec, I'll be back in a sec. Right, well, let's have a bit of fun anyway. I've stuck it on a couple of old PSUs so the deck will actually rotate. Let's see if we can actually get the thing to spin and see what it'll actually do. Now, we're not going to get any, we're not going to be able to play a record or anything on it, because there is no need, you know, there's no tip on that stylus there. First thing I'm going to do, I've got my little AFRF probe here. I've got it connected into the AF side of it, and we'll see if there's any life left in that cartridge. It's doubtful, but I could do with a working cartridge actually, working stereo cartridge. So let's we'll switch on, turn that down a bit, connect this to the other side. No, don't think we've got any life left in that, unfortunately. Let's try the other side. Possibly. I don't think there's very much of anything, because I've got the gain cranked right up on the a tiny little bit of something there, but not really. Let's turn that off. Not really enough to say, yeah, it's working. Let's see if the actual deck will run though. I've got my safe block here. I will say now, this is not something to do if you don't know what you're doing with vintage electronics. I am connecting this up to the mains. I am doing it in a safe way. I am using what's called a safe block here. But I have many years experience with this stuff. Both professionally and as a hobby, so don't necessarily copy things that I do. Just take it as entertainment, nothing else really. Especially when I'm doing stuff like this, just mucking about with stuff that's literally well, if I hadn't have bought it, I'm pretty sure it would have ended up as landfill. Right, let's let's just make sure we are connecting this up across the motor and not just wiring it right across the switch or anything. Yeah, that's okay. We are wiring it up correctly. Let's put power to that. Let's switch it onto manual. Actually, that's running quite nicely. That's not running bad at all. Let's try 33. That's 16. And it's quiet as well. That's 33. 45. Little bit of noise from the motor, but it will just be a little bit dry. It'll just need servicing. Let's go up to 78. Took a second to kick in, but there's our 78. I wonder if the auto mechanism is going to work. I'll drop it back down to say 33. And let's just try auto. No, that whole mechanism's gummed up. Yeah, the auto return's not working. That'll just be the entire mechanism gummed up. But all the main points are there. It's just a shame that little stand there's missing. But that's something, like I said, I'm sure Andy will be able to find a little stand for that. I think this is one that Andy could probably do something with, actually. It's only got a single play spindle in the centre there. It'll need a stacking spindle to actually use it as a proper multi-changer again. But yeah, I think Andy can probably do something something reasonably well with that. Bit of the cartridge doesn't work in it, but you can't have everything, especially not for this type of money. So that's number 2. Let's have a look at number 3. And number 3, we've got another garage. Sadly, again, it's missing parts. Got a good motor in it. It's missing the idler wheel, unfortunately, from up there. It's also got the piece of the arm there, the what holds the arm is broken off from there. That's a shame. But again, there's useful parts on this. I'm sure Andy can do something with some of the bits off it. It has got a good motor on it there. Even things like these switches, if they break, they're useful. These little standoffs like this, these are all useful. Lots and lots of... I think someone's already pinched some bits off this one, to be honest. It looks like it has been picked over to some extent, but I'm sure there are still lots of good, useful parts on this that Andy can do something with. It has got a cartridge in it. I very much doubt that cartridge is going to work. What have we got? Can't quite see that there. It is a Runette. I've never heard of them. Turnover cartridge, 75 and 78 and 45. It does still. It's a stereo cartridge as well. Does still have a stylus on it, and I think I might actually have some stylus that would fit that. It's a shame it's not in better condition, because this would be a very nice deck if it was. There's no point powering it up, there's too much missing for it, but we'll see if there's any life in that cartridge. I'm not expecting there to be, but we can but see. We'll switch the turn that down. And we'll connect this up to the now what's going to be ground? There's a ground. That's one of our, and that should be one side of it there. No, that's dead. See if there's any life in the other side of it. Sorry to my headphone users, for headphone listeners there. Yeah, so again, the cartridge is dead. The thing is that these, I'm sure, have been like stored somewhere very damp for a very long time, and that's probably why we've only got the decks and like the electronics out of them. These were probably stored somewhere where the cabinets had literally just disintegrated. And unfortunately, damp environments kill these old crystal cartridges. That's really what kills them. It's just damp ingress, and it allows the crystal to basically decompose. That's why you always see a lot of green goo around a lot of these cartridges. So yeah, another one that's got a bad cartridge, but like I said, there's still some parts. There's still a little bit of meat on the bone on that one, I'm sure, for Andy. Even it's just like the tone arm, things like that. These little knobs, because they get broken. You find decks with these snapped off, so they're always handy to have as spares. I'll stick that one down, and we've got this one's the one that I want to keep for a project I've got. And then we've got all, well, this is going to be fun, because this is kind of like, I think this might have parts of a record player still attached to it actually. In fact, let's see what comes off as we dig this lot out. Right, well, this is coming out first, and I have a feeling this bear with me a second, folks. It's a bit of a spaghetti junction, this. I've got bits of wire wrapped around bits of wire that belong from one record player to the other. You know, sometimes I think I should really get more organised before I start making videos. And sometimes, sometimes I said, yeah, but what would be the fun in that? I'm sure people find it entertaining. Right. There we go. Bloody hell, this has still got a plug on it. Right, let's see what we've got here. Right, this is number one. Okay, so what have we got here? Now this was either coupled to that Calaro deck, or let's have a look at the amplifier. This is quite old. In fact, can I see anything that's going to give us any indication here? What's really nice, this has got a mains transformer. This was possibly coupled with that Calaro record deck, I think. So we've got a little valve amplifier. It would probably use something like, I'm guessing something like an ECL82 or ECL86, something like that. Single valve. We've got a half-wave bridge rectifier, sorry, half-wave rectifier there. I'm guessing that's some kind of selenium rectifier. It's marked EC9. I've never come across one quite like that, to be honest. But then we've got a proper mains transformer, a nice little output transformer there. Obviously we've got a volume control and a tone control. We've actually got all the circuitry here, a little bulb indicator there. I'm not going to try and power this up just in this video, so I'll have to find out what that's going to be. It's either going to be ECL86 or ECL82 or something like that, something with a triode and a pentode in the same envelope. But that might make a nice little amplifier for a project of its own. It's all there, all it's missing is the valve. Obviously the speaker's trash, but we're not worried about that. Pity really, because that wouldn't have been a bad, it's a little Clariston, like 5-inch, 6-inch speaker that. It's a shame it's a trash, but not to worry. So the important thing is that's a nice little amplifier. You know, if I'd been in need of a little amplifier for a project, I'd have probably quite happily paid a £5 for that. Especially if it had its valve in there, but I couldn't get that transformer for a £5 if I look like on eBay or online. Mains transformer the same. There's there's 10 quid in them two transformers for me. Plus then we've got all the other useful bits we can salvage off there. But really, literally, I've got £10 there in that mains transformer and that output transformer. So I mean, that's my money just in that one little piece there. Plus, nice set of matching control knobs. If it wasn't for the fact it's a nice little amplifier on its own. So we've got that. Put that to one side. Let's dig out. We might as well go through these bits and then we'll get to that deck. It's buried right at the bottom of all these bits. So then we've got, now this could have equally gone with that Claro. This could have equally gone with that Claro deck, to be honest. This is an EAR record player, and all we've got left, two nice control knobs, nice little speaker grill that I could probably use to repair another radio. It has preserved the speaker. The speaker's in reasonably nice condition, providing it still works. But more importantly, we've got the valves. So we've got a nice little output transformer again there. Not very powerful, probably 2 or 3 watts. But we've got a nice little valve line up here. I will take them out because the pins have got a little bit bent. I'll have to very carefully straighten them. But we've got an EL84. These are getting pricey now, especially original Mullard ones. So that can go on the valve tester and we'll make sure it's okay. I'll straighten all them pins up. And again, if that's a good valve and it tests over 80%, you're talking £7, £10 just for the output valve. They are getting more and more and more expensive. Again, EZ80 rectifier, a good one of those showing 80+%. £4.50, £5, that kind of price range now. So again, on the low side, I've got £10 worth of valves there. A nice little speaker worth a few quid. Another, perhaps £4 or £5 output transformer there. Even the pots might be still usable. I mean, I don't bother reusing things like the smoothing can there, although it would be useful for perhaps restuffing one. So again, something else that was really, really useful. Plenty of good parts off it. It's a pity they've got smashed up because they're quite nice speakers. I think we've got both of them, or one get left. But we've got them connectors are handy actually. Right, let's have a look at the next bit. Ooh. Right, and we have a believe this is another Garrard. It could be a BSR, but it does look just about right for what I want. For a 70s transistorized record player I'm just doing for someone at the moment. This should all, it's actually only, it's not broken, it's just come off, and I think I should actually be able to flatten that down and make that good again. So we've got, let's see if we can figure out whether the, I bet Andy's screaming at the monitor right now, because he'll be able to recognise it instantly. I'm not actually sure whether this is a BSR or a Garrard. I think it's a BSR. Looking at that motor there, this is a BSR. It's one of the later BSRs. We do have a cartridge in it, which does still have a bit of life in the stylus by the look of it. And we have a transistorized amplifier, stereo transistorized amplifier here. Probably OC series output pairs there. So basically it's really nice, these amplifiers here, because we've got just got two little monoblock amplifiers. Very, very simple. They don't actually sound too bad either. Obviously we've got some damage there. There's some broken capacitor snapped off there. There's our main smoothing. One set of output pairs. There's the other set of output pairs. Yeah, not bad at all. Certainly probably usable as is, or I could split them and use them as two, possibly use them as two separate amplifiers. They do look like basically the boards are identical. They just swap a few components to make it into a stereo pair like that. That's quite interesting. I might play about with them in the future. Let's have a look under here. Sadly the wiring for the cartridge has been ripped off. All the wires appear to be there though. Even the grease is good on this. Let me see if I can disconnect all this lot. We'll get down just to the bare. Oh, that's what powers the amplifier. So the amplifier is powered there. That's mains in on them two there. I'm just trying to make it safe, so I can perhaps just power the turntable up and we can see whether what the turntable does. Just bear with me a second folks, let me see what I can do with this. I can get to that wire in there to see if that cartridge has got any life in it. You'll do. You can snip. Now let's see what this wiring's doing now. Let's disconnect everything we need to disconnect. Because these will need soldering back. They've actually been soldered in place. There must have been a bad connection issue with this on some point, because they've actually all been soldered in place, so I'll have to deal with them. We'll cut these off for now. And we'll cut those off. Those are our low tension AC, which basically powers the transistorized amplifier. So we've probably got about 30 volts or so, perhaps 12 to 30 volts AC on them, which gets rectified down, which is what actually runs the transistorized amplifier on these. And then we've just got our live and neutral into the motor. Right, okay, so we can get this lot out of the way now. That will basically just get put in my vintage scrap box and used for what bits need to get used off it, basically. Let's see if there's any life in this deck. Let's see if I can strip these wires off. So see how this has been wired. So we've got green and black are our grounds. So I'm just going to twist the green and black together to give us a common ground. And then we'll connect up. It'd be really nice if this cartridge works. Again, I doubt it. It's not likely that in the state that these record players are in, that any of the cartridges are going to be any good. But we can but try. Right, okay, let's try that. And switch the, I'll turn the gain band right down. And we'll switch on and we'll see if we can see if there's any signs of life. We've got a bit of life there. Not very much, I don't think. But it could just be this wiring's a bit dodgy. Let me see if I can strip this other wire off. There we go. So I've just paralleled both channels together. Hey! We've got a working cartridge. Right, I wonder if we could actually play a record on this just as it's set up like this. Just have to make sure I've got it so nothing's catching. Like that. Yeah, we have got a little bit of life in that cartridge, that's unbelievable. Right, let's get the motor fired up and see if the motor's going to turn. It's pretty stiff, I don't know whether this is going to actually run. Let's turn that off for now. Yes, I should not be using my I wouldn't say my nice side cutters, but side cutters like this for stripping wire. This is not recommended, but there we go. Let's see if we've got any life in the turntable. What we do have to do is make sure that those two white wires are just not touching, or we could burn the transformer out, or burn the winding out on the motor, because it's basically used as an auto transformer to produce that lower voltage to run the transistorized amplifier. Stick one of them under there, one's over there, they'll be fine. Shut that down. I think I can hear the motor running. Yeah, I can hear the motor going, but it's not allowing the deck to turn. I could just try cheating and just dropping a tiny bit of oil down there. It'll help me get this off anyway when I have to service it, so it won't do any harm by just dropping a bit of... That's freed that up. Well, there's 78. 45. 16. 33. Right, just bear with us a second, folks. I'll just go and get a record. Something. I'll see if I can find something we can play, and it's not going to get me copyright strike. So back in a sec. Right, okay, folks. I have got music for pleasure, big war movie themes. Let's see how this. Let's see how this does. Go on. We'll see if we can get it to actually cycle through in auto. I very much doubt that's going to work. We need to set that as a 12-inch record. 33. Let's start it. No, so the auto start function's seized on it. That's not a problem. Let's see if we can get the record to drop manually. We'll turn the amplifier on. There we go. Let's see if there's any more life on the other side of the cartridge. There is. There we go. That's not actually playing that too bad. You know, there's no wow or flutter really. Obviously it needs serious servicing. Most of the mechanism's fairly seized up. We'll try and see if it'll auto stop now, but I doubt it. No, the entire auto mechanism and it's pretty much seized, but that gives you a good idea of how well it's playing actually. And it also shows you that that cartridge actually might have some life left in it. Can't crank it right up. Like I say, I'm not using a proper amplifier here. I'm literally using my RFAF signal tracer, just to get see what's working. If I go over onto the higher gain. Yeah, let's switch that off now. I'm actually reasonably impressed with that. That is just coming off the record, what you can hear now. I'm getting a fair bit of audio literally just coming off that stylus. Anyway, let's stop that. Put that away. Stop that. I wonder when the last time that record player played a record was. Now that's what we call a resurrection. Just a bit of fun, but it's proved that, you know, that is definitely a very viable repair. That arm seems a little bit bent, but I'm sure we can do something to straighten that out. Right, I'll get this cleared off, and we'll have a look at the last thing that I bought. So back in a sec. Right, okay, it's Aldi bag time. What have we got in here? There we go. What this is It's basically it's a colour analyzer. This is used in photography. I actually had. This was going back about 18 years or so. I actually helped clear a college that had shut down. A friend of mine worked for another college, and the idea was to go down there and take anything that they could use at the other college, and everything else was just basically being skipped. So we got the opportunity to basically take anything that we wanted as well before the clearance guys come in, and literally skipped everything. And I got I about 20 of these. They weren't like this. They were much more modern machines. They were much more modern devices made by AGFA, I think. I remember I sold them on eBay, and I sold them for a pretty penny, put it that way. It certainly made my trip worthwhile. This is, like I said, this is basically, as far as I am aware, the same thing, only just much older. And I just thought it looked cool. That's the sole reason I bought this thing. I just thought it looked cool. I don't know whether I'm going to keep this as what it is, or whether I'm going to use this as a basis for a project or something, because this cabinet is awesome. You know, the way that the panelling is mounted up here. I was thinking actually possibly something like a universal test set. I was considering building a ESR tester. I've seen quite a few designs for a meter-based ESR tester, which is just a really quick visual when you're going through something. Check on a capacitor, on an electrolytic capacitor, and I'm wondering whether this would be the perfect piece of equipment to like house it, to use it. It's just really nicely laid out. I suppose what we should do is see what this thing actually does, and perhaps just do a quick mini. Yeah, we could take the bottom off, can't we? I think it'd be easier to take the bottom off than anything else, and have a mini teardown of this thing. I'm guessing it dates. Let's have a look at the wiring. That's a good way to indicate when something was made, because the colour codes on our wiring changed in the very early 1970s. So if it's got black and red wiring, it's, I think, pre-72. If it's got brown and blue wiring like this has, it's after 72. So this is 70s, possibly 80s, but probably 70s build. What we could do is we could see if it does anything actually. The guy I got this off, he didn't even know what it was. He wanted 10 quid for it. I told him, no way I will give you 10 quid for it. I offered him 2 quid for it. He said, there's no way I'll be selling it for 2 quid. And we met at 4 quid. And I was quite happy to pay 4 quid for it. And I think he was happy that he got 4 quid for it rather than having to stick it in his van and take it home with him. And that's kind of how it is on car boot sales. You know, you've got to do a bit of barter, a bit of haggle. Unless it's something like the turntables, when quite frankly £5 for that lot, it was a steal. I know some people might be horrified and think you've wasted your money there, but you can see what I've got there, what potential there is, what useful parts, and more importantly what those useful parts would actually cost me if I was to say go on eBay and try to source them on eBay. Right, we'll connect this up to the safe block. Okay, let's switch that on. Well, it powers up. I don't know how you calibrate it, how you set it up. That feels broken, to be honest. That's just the main power there. Ah, so that's how you change between the different colours. I think you set a null. It's a long time since I've used anything like this, but basically we've got a reader, a sensor there in the centre of there, which you run over. As you can see, it's light sensitive. As I pull it up to the light, you can see the needle drop down there. If I put it over a colour though, it should actually set. I say it's a very long time since I've messed with anything like this. It does appear that it might actually work, which there's no red in that. Blue, that's blue, blue's there. So why is that blue and that one there? There, so is that red? But yeah, anyway, so it does appear to be doing something. I'm not sure whether it's actually fully working. I'll probably do a little bit of research on it before I actually decide to take it all apart. But let's have a look inside it while we're here. I think taking this bottom plate off will be the easiest way of getting in there. And we should be able to see a lot of 70s goodness. Let's have a look. Watch this be the wrong way to get into it. I should have really just taken them screws out from the top and lifted the top panels off. Right, let's see if this is gonna... Ah, there we go. No, I was right. No, I wasn't. I was wrong. We should have really taken... just bear with me a second, folks. I'll come back as soon as I've figured out how to get in this thing. Right, okay. Right way around. And I've took the 4 screws out there, so hopefully... we should now be able to get into this. Well, this is rather... Do I have to pull these off? Ah, right, okay. Let's pull them off. And then we might actually be able to get inside it. There's always one, isn't there? There we are. Right, let's try again. There we go. We're in. Okay, cool. So we've got a lovely big meter there. Very, very simple construction. That must be a multi-turn pot. Wonder how many turns that is. Fine adjustment by some... oh, I've got to the end of it there. So it is a very, very fine adjustment pot, that. Got lots of old school transistors. So this is definitely 1970s. Looking at these transistors, we've got a little IC there. It's a 74 1CP by the look of it. 73.50, so 1973. So we're talking end of 1973, if that is indeed the date code on it. It does look very 1970s, this. Just seeing if I can see a date on the back of that meter. No, there's no date on there, just some specifications. But this is very, very nicely made. Very, very nicely made indeed. And it would house, like I say, if I do decide I'm going to build like a universal kind of test set with a lot of the things I use most often basically built into it, and an ESR tester and like a component analyzer and things like that, all built into the one unit. This would be very, very nice to do it with. But I'll do a little bit more research on the machine before I do that, because I don't like breaking up, you know, something that's either of use as it is to someone else, or if it's even not of any use, if it's something that's particularly rare and there aren't many of them left about, I'll keep it, you know, for historic purposes. If it's something that's of no use, the common as muck, but I can repurpose it for something else, I would rather do that than, well, basically most of this stuff that I get, it's going to end up in landfill otherwise. This, you know, car boot stuff like this, if he doesn't sell it, and he's not going to store it, it might go to a couple of car boot sales. If it still hasn't sold, it's going to end up going to the tip, and it's going to end up as landfill. And there's too many useful parts. Even if I can't use it for as what it is, there is so many useful parts. That meter there, those are expensive to buy now. It will be absolutely top of the range, because it's a piece of, you know, this is a piece of scientific equipment. It's not just something you'd have in your home. All the parts will be absolutely top quality. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now, because this video is probably going to be one of these long rambly ones yet again. But I thought, seeing as I've been car booting, like I say, and it's probably going to be one of the last, if not the last, for this year. I do need to save some pennies up for Goulburn, because Goulburn's coming up reasonably soon, and I'll need some play money if I'm going to go and have a few hours at Goulburn. So I can't go keep spending what I've saved up on car boot sale stuff. But I spent £9 today, if we include all the record player stuff and this, so I don't think I've done too badly. I could certainly make my money back more and more from that record player stuff. The valves, the output transformers are all handy to me. That one deck will do for the deck I need, and the rest of the decks, I'm sure Andy can make some good use of them. So all in all, it was quite a good successful trip, really. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Hope you enjoyed this little car boot video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.